Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kajal Singh, and I'm a product manager for Oracle Data Masking and Subsetting on Enterprise Manager. So on the call, we also have Bharat, who is the dev manager for DMS, and his team members, Harshal, um, and we also have Anurav and Palak, and they will be trying their best to answer, any questions that you might have during the webinar. So feel free to use the Q&A channel. So the today's session is all about how to minimize the data risk and maximize the value using Oracle data masking and subsetting. So we will be covering the problem space, the solution, methodology, use cases, real world customer applications, what's new with DMS on EM24 AI. And then finally, we will wrap up the session with all the product resources and also addressing the Q&A. So before getting started, I do want to have a quick poll here just to understand the audience and the awareness about the DMS solution. So Catherine, if you can trigger the poll,
Yeah, give me a
that would be.
second here. Sorry, it's not.
So let's start with this challenge. Imagine there is an organization that needs to share or copy the production instance across multiple non-production streams, right? So when you're copying or sharing your production environment across, let's say testing, development, analytics, and many more, with that, even your sensitive information is proliferated across. So, as we all are aware, our non-production environments, security-wise, is often overlooked, but they still contain your real and sensitive information. So this really expands the attack surface for the enterprise and introduces, risks like data breach, compliance violation, insider threats, and many more. So this is why we need a solution like DMS that helps you to reduce this risk by discovering, masking, or even subsetting the data before it's even shared. So DMS is built around three key pillars: data discovery, data masking, and data subsetting, with data discovery as a prerequisite step where you will be locating your sensitive columns and then going ahead with either masking or the subsetting jobs. So each of these components, it helps you to protect your sensitive information while still enabling the business, right? So let's deep dive into each of these components, starting with data discovery. With data discovery, you can identify your sensitive information across your target databases while also understanding the data sensitivity. So with each discovered column, you will be getting a sensitivity score based on which users can take a call whether a particular sensitive column, discovered column is sensitive or not. With data discovery, you can identify various categories of the information, including PI, biographic, financial, and IT. It offers you over 30 built-in and predefined sensitive data types library. So users can directly choose the sensitive type in the library in order to define the kind of the sensitive data that they are looking for. So to perform discovery process, you can do that in just four simple steps, starting with creating a data model. So on DMS, we call it application data model, where you will be selecting your target database and your schemas. For the second step, like we have seen in our previous slide, where you would have to define, you have to choose the type of the sensitive data that you're looking for. For the third step, you will run the discovery job. And then lastly, you will review the report, which will have your sensitive columns. along with the sensitivity score. So a few highlights on data discovery. You will have a predefined library of the sensitive types, but it also gives you the flexibility of creating your own sensitive type, where you can define the regular expression for the pattern matching, to perform either on column name, column comment, or column data. So here on the screenshot, you can see that we have taken email as an example, and we have defined the regex for matching with the column name, the comment, and the data. So with this, it will perform the pattern matching with your columns in the table. So once your discovery job is completed, you will get all the findings, including your sensitive columns, where it is located, which schema, application, object, along with the sensitivity score, for data match, and whether there was a match with column name and also for column comment. So here, again, in the screenshot, you can see that based on the scores, the users can define whether a particular discovered column is, sensitive or not. So they will have the flexibility to change that. For our next component, we have data masking. As the name suggests, it will replace your sensitive information with anonymized value. With data masking, it is not just about randomly creating a value, but also preserving the data integrity. So you can achieve, various masking characteristics. You can maintain the usability of the data post masking and ensuring your applications, they don't break and they continue to work even with the masked data. So for data masking, as we were discussing that how you can preserve the masking, the data, the sensitive data integrity even after masking. And you can achieve that with the comprehensive masking formats and the masking formats library that DMS offers. So you will have over 20 predefined masking formats in the library, and you can directly choose from there. Or you can also customize your own format using 20 out-of-box options, including substitute, encrypt, SQL expression, and many more. So using this comprehensive library, you can maintain the data usability even after masking, right? So to understand, this area more, it is important to also gain the understanding of the various masking characteristics that DMS can offer, including deterministic, compound, reversibility, conditional, and even preserving the masking format. So each of these masking characteristics will have a use case of its own. So depending on your situation, your scenario, you can achieve these characteristics by choosing the relevant, masking formats from our library. So we will be going through each of the use case later in the session. But for now, I can provide you a quick, description, quick overview for each one of them. Starting with deterministic, the simple, description is where for the same input value, you will be getting the same output value, right? So this can be useful for, let's say you have a table and with the duplicate entries. So even after masking, you would want to have the duplicate output values, right? So this will be true for the table or even across the tables or your entire target database. So you can achieve that using some of our masking formats like substitute, SQL expression, and encryption. Compound masking, the simple description for compound masking should be maintaining the logical relationship across your columns, right? So in this case, let's say if you have address related fields, city, state, country, so you would want to have the masked values which are realistic, right? For the same city, it should have the actual value for the state and for the country. So this will come under compound masking. Reversible, again, here if users want to retrieve the original data back, so DMS does offer the option of performing decryption. And then we have conditional masking, where if you just want to mask the specific subset of the rows and not the entire column, then you can achieve that by providing, a specific condition under the masking rule. And then lastly, you have preserve format. In this, if you just want to preserve the number of characters, the position, the special characters, you can achieve that using our auto mask format. So it will be taking care of the your format of the data end to end. Now, even data masking process, you can perform that under four simple steps. You will be choosing the same data model that you have created under data discovery. So it will be coming with your, discovered sensitive columns. For the second step, you will add a masking format for each of those sensitive columns, right? So again, you can either choose it from your predefined library or you can customize your own, on the same page. For the third step, you would be generating the masking script, which is a PL SQL script. So you can, after generating that masking script for the fourth step, you can execute and run the masking job. So the last topic on data masking, with the DMS pack, it also offers you the certified templates for masking your EBS environments. These templates, it will come with the predefined data models and your masking rules. So you can directly execute those templates on DMS, and it will, eventually it will help you to reduce the errors and also to reduce the time where you don't have to create, your data models or your masking definitions from the scratch. So this is fully included in the product license, so you don't have to buy these, templates as add-ons. Our last component is data subsetting. Under data subsetting, you can extract the necessary portion of the data set based on your condition. So when you're dealing with a data set instead of your massive, target database, it will reduce your overall processing, your operational costs, while also reducing the sensitive data exposure. You can create subsets using our three flexible rules: percentage of rows, conditions, or partition. For percentage of rows, you will just simply specify the portion or the percentage number, and it will be extracting or deleting, from your target database. For the conditions, if you want to create the subset based on your, specific rule, let's say for data range, region, department, or any other condition on your column, so you can specify that condition, and then it will only extract or delete that subset. For our third subsetting rule, we have partition. Here, when you're selecting a schema, and under that you will have, your different tables. Using this rule, you can group the logical tables together and only deal with that group instead of, the entire schema. So these are the three flexible subsetting rules, included in the component. Again, for subsetting, it can be performed in 4 steps. You will have to choose the same data model that you have created during your data discovery process. So it will be coming with your schema, so you can choose, the schemas that you're interested in. Then for the second step, you will apply the subsetting rule, like we have seen, either specifying the percentage, the portion of the rows, or your particular condition, or just, logical groups on the tables. Third step, you will generate the subsetting script, and then finally you will run the subsetting job. Few highlights on subsetting. So in order to create the data set, either you can delete it in the database. For example, here you can see our second row has been deleted. And in the original table itself, you will be left with 2 rows. Or you can export your data set into a dump file. so that your original source is not affected at all. Data subsetting also offers you the referential for maintaining the referential integrity option, where let's say if I have only applied the subsetting rule, if I have only chosen a certain table or certain schema, then opting for the referential integrity option, it will also include the related rows and the tables, from other schemas. Here you can see we have a customer table. So, and as per the applied rule, we are only left with 2 rows. But if there is any sort of database or application level, relationship that exists, then it will also extract the rows, from other tables. And then finally, you can also review your pre and post subset size even before running the subsetting job, right? So on this screen, on this tab, you can go through the source side and then also the estimated subset size in terms of the number of rows or even the percentage. So this was the overview on data subsetting. And now I would like to share the 2 flexible deployment options that DMS offers. First one is in database. So in this case, either you can perform your DMS operations on a staging server, which will basically have the clone data from your source database. And then you can, once your masking and subsetting jobs are completed, then you can clone the data to your dev or your test environments. Or if you don't want to deal with a staging server in between, you can directly, perform masking and subsetting on your non-production environments. Then the second deployment option is in export. For in export, your masking and subsetting jobs, it will be performed during the export phase. So your source database is not affected, it's not changed. Your masked or your subsetted data will be exported to a dump file, and then you can import those files to your non-production environments. So these are the 2 deployment options that you have on DMS. And another important thing here is that the DMS licensing is not dependent on your staging server or even your masked database copies. It will only take into account your source database. So our next section is on value proposition. So we will be starting with our top 4 business use cases. First one is supporting your test and development environments. So on these non-production environments with de-identified data that behaves like production, your test and development teams, they can run the accurate validations and simulate the real world cases, all while staying compliant and secure. For our second use case, data sharing with a third party, whether it's a consulting partner or your support vendor or your QA firm, Oracle DMS, it enables the secure data sharing with your third parties by masking the sensitive information and subsetting only the relevant data. For our third use case, we have analytics without compromise. We help teams perform the real-time analytics on the mass data, whether it's customer behavior or financial patterns or operational metrics, without ever exposing the sensitive information. So you get the insights without the risk. Fourth use case, optimize storage with targeted data subset. So instead of copying the entire production databases, you can extract only the data that you need, whether by date, region, business unit, or any other condition. So this really reduces the footprint in your non-production environments, which eventually lowers the cost and also improves the test cycle speed. Apart from this, we also have various benefits that DMS has to offer. First and foremost is limiting the sensitive data exposure in your non-production environments. It's a versatile technology. You get 2 flexible deployment options. You can mask and subset in the database, or you can export the files out. With data subsetting, you can reduce the overall operational processing cost. you can directly use the masking formats and the templates. So it really reduces the customization while also giving you the flexibility. And it's fully integrated with Oracle Enterprise Manager, so you don't have to install anything else. So I think here is the high time to see what we have new on DMS, with Enterprise Manager 24 AI. So with the EM release last year in December 2024, we have completely overhauled the look and feel for the solution. So now you can notice a modernized interface. Under this, you can see, even in the screenshot, you can see a single unified console for our three components, along with this all new enterprise level overview dashboard. So on this dashboard, you can notice all the key metrics, related to DMS operations, um, for data models that you have created, the masking formats, discovered columns, and the sensitive types. You will have a simplified navigation. When you switch between the pages, you will notice a very clean and the intuitive layout. Along with this, we have also added the visual workflows for some of our core pages so that if you're performing any operation, every time you don't have to refer to external help or, even other documentation. So these are just the important, highlights, the important features that we have introduced with DMS on EM24 AI. So let's have a short demo, just a quick tour on the UI. So on the login page, once you provide the credential, it will take you to the landing page. And then in order to navigate to DMS, you would have to now go to targets, databases. And on this page, you can see the security option at top, where you can notice, all the three components, and clicking anywhere, it will take you to this console. On the left side, you can see the navigation panel. You have the overview dashboard. You can see the titles at the top for data models, masking definitions, basically all the key metrics. And then your target, databases, your discovered columns. Then we have also included the workflow, which will help you to kind of understand, the discovery, masking, and subsetting, and how these pieces are coming together in the entire workflow. For each of the components, we have subcomponents like data models. You can find the libraries. And if you go to any page, like, we have discussed the visual workflow, so you can see the workflow while you're performing, any operation. And then we have data subsetting. Data subsetting is still on our previous version, which is 13.5. So we have introduced the option on 24 AI, but it will be taking you to our previous version. So all these changes are for data discovery and data masking. Now, for our next section, we have the real world customer use cases specifically for masking. So our first use case is for one of our banking customers who wanted to mask the data in a consistent way. So in the table, you can see we have, customer ID, we have credit card column, and some of the customer IDs are repeating in the same table, right? So the expectation is that even after masking, those repeating values should be masked, with the same output, right? For example, if we have customer ID 1, then both these rows should also have, the same duplicate values. So for the same input, you should be getting the same output. For this use case, they used encrypt masking format. They provided the regular expression, the format, of the data that they wanted to see. Along with this, they had to provide the encryption seed. And using that encryption seed, they can, achieve the consistent masking in the same table or across different tables or even in the target database. So this is a classic, example of deterministic masking, where you can, mask the data in the consistent way. Same input will give you the same output. Our second use case is for our public sector organization, and they wanted to achieve compound masking, where the related columns should have the realistic values, right? So in the table, you can see we have employee column and we have the address related columns, including city, state, and country. So after masking, they would want to have the realistic values, even across the rows. If there is a city, Austin, then after masking, even the state and the country should have the actual, realistic value. So this compound masking, it can be achieved using our group shuffle masking format, where it will maintain the relationship, among the rows, and it will be kept intact. Our third use case is for the national insurance firm, and they wanted to mask the rows based on a particular condition. So here in the table, you can see we have region, we have customer name columns, and they would only want to mask the data where a particular region is satisfied, and rest of the other columns should be kept the same original data. So this conditional masking really allowed them to meet their local privacy laws, and this can be achieved using by applying your condition in your masking rule. Our last use case is for a manufacturing company, and after masking, they would want to reverse the mask and get their original data back. So, for their use case, they wanted to get the data back for their support team or the IT team to trace the customer issues. So in this case, they used encryption. After masking the data, when they needed, they can go back using decryption, providing the same encryption key. And so here it helps you to balance the compliance when you're masking with also the operational flexibility, when it is needed. So these are some of the use cases, that our current customers have been implementing. And there are many more use cases with, other masking characteristics which can be achieved using DMS. So let's wrap up with our key differentiators that really makes DMS, stand out. First one is native integration with Oracle ecosystem. So it really integrates, natively with Oracle Enterprise Manager and the database itself. So there is no middleware or, agents or any additional infrastructure that is required. Then all the related capabilities, whether discover, mask, or subset, they all are included in this one, unified product. Third one is performance optimized. DMS leverages the Oracle's, internal kernel features to run the masking or the subsetting jobs efficiently, even on the large data sets. So you don't have to sacrifice, the speed for the security. Fourth one, in export masking. So with DMS, you can apply the masking directly during the data export. So that means your sensitive data is actually, it never leaves the production environment unmasked. So it's a huge win for compliance and the risk mitigation. Then we have EBS template. So for our EBS customers, we provide certified, predefined templates that cover your PI or any other business critical data, saving the time and reducing the errors. Then our last one is simple licensing. The licensing is straightforward for DMS pack. You don't have to license, the staging servers or your mask clones, making the adoption cost effective. For our last section, we have resources. So here I would like to first start with our free workshop. You can use this workshop to understand, the core functionalities of the solution. So you don't have to install, anything. It will provide you the preset environment along with the demo data. So you just have to follow the steps, to understand each of the components. So it's a easy demo. You can finish that under 1 hour. And here I have provided a QR code, just in case if you want to go through this lab. Then we have all the product resources on this slide. You can find pretty much all our collateral on our webpage, including datasheet, FAQ. We also have a very comprehensive documentation guide. For DMS, we have documentation for CLI, for licensing, or if you want to, understand other enterprise manager concepts. Lastly, we also have our RStorm, our previously recorded RStorm sessions that you can find on our YouTube channel. Next, if you are interested to know more about, other products and solutions under Oracle Database Security, so you can refer to this revised, our recently released 6th edition ebook. And we have given a QR code here if you're interested. So I would like to stop here and see if we have any questions or any feedback.
Well, your panelists have been excellent and responsive in the Q&A. So we've had several questions, but they have been addressed. But by all means, if you have additional questions, please ask or raise your hand or we can unmute you. Did I see a question? The question is, to maintain data integrity across multiple databases, how to execute the jobs?
So I would say it would depend on the scenario, like we have seen for, compound masking or conditional masking. So using the relevant format from the library can help them to achieve, the data usability even across the target databases. So let's say if they use the encrypt masking format for one table, within our target database, then using the same encrypt regular expression and the same cryptographic key, they can achieve the same results. So this is just one scenario, of maintaining the data integrity. So we have more such examples of achieving that in our documentation. And also, we have included one example with the email column in our live lab. So,
yeah, and all those links were put into the chat. So if you want to access that, that's great. In the meantime,
yeah.
Shyam Sundar is addressing a question about he just answered it. We have a new one. What is the fastest way to mask staging or non-staging architecture?
I'm not sure if I exactly understand the question, as in, oh, okay. So I think it's from the slide where we have shown the staging server or directly on the clone copies, right? So if that's the case, then I would say that I think most of our customers right now, they are directly executing on their non-production environments, on their test and development. So if there is not a need of keeping a staging server and performing your operations, and then later on, if there is a need and then they are cloning to other environments, then so it will depend on your situation. But most of our customers are directly executing on non-production instances.
I see other people are asking. Let's try to address the questions live if we could. Some other people can. So Adrian is asking, I have 4 applications data model, each one with around 10 data masking definitions. And 13C, how is the best method, what is the best method to migrate this to 24 AI?
I'm not sure, again, if I understand the question. Is it on the Q&A or?
Yeah, it is in the Q&A.
Oh, I see it. Okay. If you have 4 data models, each one with around 10 data masking definitions, in 13C, how is the best method to migrate this to 24 AI? I think I would want Bharat. Um, I think Bharat would be the right guy to answer this. Would you recommend the complete batching, or can we export those data models and
Well, like you can unmute yourself and answer the question if you're.
Kajal, can you repeat the question?
So she's asking that if you have already created your data models and masking definitions on 13.5, then what is the best way of having those, definitions on 24 AI? So I guess you can export.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you
I
can
think
export and import it back.
yeah. So you can export those data models, and basically it will be like a PL SQL script. So even if you have to make any changes, offline, you can do that and then import it back to 24 AI.
We're so happy with the content that she's prepared. And if there are interest in additional topics, we'd love to hear from you, or just any suggestions in general on what you would like to see. Well, really interactive session, Kajal. Thank you so much for your content and for your panelists who've been so proactive and reactive to all the questions. If there are no more questions, I can conclude this call. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.